back. All-time Kings icon, former coach, GM, great broadcaster, Jerry Reynolds. How are you today, Jer? Happy Friday.
Well, happy Friday to you, too. You know, I really enjoyed your take on the football situation around the league, and I guess the Chiefs don't count anymore. Is that what you're telling me?
He's a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, Chiefs fan. Please. I'm an Eagles guy, Jerry. I'm an Eagles guy. You know, I'm still in my feelings about that Super Bowl.
There, and Whitey's at Niners, and I get that. And as you pointed out, Kyle, very wisely, I might add, that there's a lot of football to be played.
Hey, exactly.
and you know that quarterback that is employed by the Chiefs has a way of kind of getting better when he needs to.
You know what it is, Jerry? The Niners are like the NBA in-season tournament champions. You know, if there was an NFL in-season tournament, the Niners could have it. That's what they would be right now. But the games in January and February matter just a little bit more.
All right,
you like that way?
Too? Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of who's healthy. That's
right.
The other side. That's why I don't get too excited about anything in any sport the first month or two.
Yeah, well, Jerry, we know that it's silly to get too excited about the preseason, especially. That said, is it fair? I feel like it would be nice if the Kings had been at least a little more competitive defensively in these first two games. If they just had looked like they were giving a little more effort. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's reasonably fair. I mean, because mainly you know this team's going to score and can be as good as anybody in the league, if not the best. So you're hoping for an improved defense. Truthfully, you haven't seen that yet, but you don't really need to see it yet. You would like to, and I know Coach Brown is, you know, it's not like he hadn't noticed the same things. So, you know, if they can just improve, find out a way to get a little 2 or 3 points better on defense, obviously they could be a contender.
Jerry, when you know Mike Brown going into his second year here, tremendous first season. Obviously, we know the numbers. It was a love affair pretty much from the get-go. But now he's into his second season. When does the honeymoon phase wear off, and how difficult is it as a coach to, you know, keep guys buying in and motivated? Can you use the same speech as you used a year ago, or do you got to come up with new material?
And how long was your honeymoon period as a coach?
I think it lasted about 24 hours. But yeah, I think with Coach Brown, I mean, I think he's just got such a great personality, and I think the honeymoon is going to last longer for him than just about anybody. But we all know that it's W's and L's. I mean, you know that's what the league is, and the negative for Coach Brown, he did such a marvelous job. I don't know that I've seen a coach have a better year, you know, in all my years of watching and being involved in basketball than he did. But now of course, that brings its own level of expectations. You know, it's like, oh, okay, you got 48 now. Now, what are you going to do for me this year? And I've looked around the West, and boy, if a bunch of teams stay healthy, it could really be rough.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this though, Jer. In your opinion, and you're absolutely right about the West, which team though do you think by the mainstream media is most overrated right now in the West? The Warriors, the Clippers, or the Suns?
Well, that's a great question. I still think it might be the Suns, because you're really counting on something from two guys, Beal and Durant, that just haven't been healthy for several years, to where they've missed a lot of games. And so, of course, having said that, of course, the ultimate guys missing games were the Clippers.
Yeah.
And, of course, I think the Clippers, if they're healthy, might very well be the best. I think the Warriors will find a way to be very good, but I don't see them as a contender personally.
Jerry, when you look at the way the Kings are, and we've talked a little bit about the defense, we know Mike Brown is preaching defense all the time with this team, but we haven't seen the results yet. As a coach, what buttons can you push? Do you just keep at it? Do you just keep trying to, drill it into the guys?
Well, that's a great question. I think, I don't have a good answer, but I do think that if you're really going to demand defense, probably the only thing a coach can do is instead of subbing based on offense, sub on defense a little bit. At some point you kind of got to jerk somebody's chain a little bit, and even if it's a Sabonis or a Fox or whoever, just a kind of reminder that, yeah, we know you're really, really good and everything else, but we'd kind of like for you to guard somebody.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice. Yeah. Jerry Reynolds is with us, of course. In what ways, Jerry, do you think Fox and Sabonis, and as good as they were last year, tremendous seasons, are there ways that either one could be even better this year, realistically?
And I listened to Kyle a while ago, and I agree. I think he's who he is, and there's not a darn thing wrong with that.
Right.
I think he's a 19-point guy on 12 shots and, 7 assists and 12 rebounds. I mean, my goodness, that's big-time stuff. I think Fox can get a little better with his three-point shot. I think he can get a little better as a playmaker because he just breaks down defenses so easy that I think he the more confidence you get, I think he'll find guys a little better. Not that he's bad, but I think he could even get better there. But and he is capable of being an outstanding defender. I think we see it, at times, and it kind of needs to get a little more consistent. We don't expect it to be Davion, but his length and quickness, I think, could really be a step up for the team.
On with the legend himself, the icon, Jerry Reynolds. Jerry, who's the one guy you're looking forward to making a big impact for the Kings this season? Talk to Sabonis, Fox. Who's that guy that takes us from a good team to, we can be a serious contender?
Keegan Murray.
Exactly.
Well, I just thought in the California Classic, he was just terrific and showed, I understand what Summer League is, but he was doing some things, that he hadn't done all year. And, getting to the basket, making plays off the dribble, things like that. I think, he is such a good, nice young man. He wants to blend in. There's not a selfish bone in his body, but he needs to develop a selfish bone in his body.
Well, is that kind of like, would Eddie Johnson maybe be a model in that sense? I mean, Eddie was a team player, but he knew if there was a tough shot that you guys needed, he wanted to be the one to take it, right?
Yeah, there is, I think he could be. I think he's a better athlete than Eddie was, and he has a chance to be a better defender. And I do think he's got potential to be better than Eddie. And Eddie was terrific, as you know. He'd get, he could get 18 every night on anybody. There's definitely reason to believe that Keegan could take that next step and be the, anywhere from 16 to 20 point scorer and that you could really count on, and another guy down the stretch, because he can make threes and he's such a threat spacing wise that it opens up things, helps everybody else. So yeah, I'm enthused. I'm a fan, and I like this team. They're a fun team, and Keegan Murray is just one of my favorites for sure.
Jerry, obviously it was a good season last year, 48 wins, playoffs, and you listen to Mike Brown. He wants the expectations to be high for this team. I'm talking, championship level. When you look at this season, what constitutes a success in your opinion? What do coaches measure success by? Is it just W's and L's? Is it how far you go into the postseason?
No, I do think it really is more to do, are we a better team? And that may not necessarily be more wins. The opposition has something to say about that. But I think, having said that, I think, Mike Brown has made clear he talking about building for a championship, and that's what he should say. I heard people criticize that, and I said, well, what should he say? Boy, I hope we can win 15, 18 games this year. So no, he's doing everything right. For the way I would see the team, I'm not quite as optimistic. I wish I was, but in my mind, if the team, makes the playoffs and could win the first round, that's a tremendous improvement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a, you know, ask Denver. You know, they didn't get to be champions in last year, just from last year.
Right.
There's a building process. And of course, so I think in most cases, unless you're going to get some free agents, you know, all the best free agents in the league, you're probably going to, especially a small market team's probably got to build the way up. And I think, you know, and I think the Kings are on that track. I think they got a great coach and great general manager. So, you know, why not?
Well, we appreciate it, Jared. Before we let you go, I got to ask you, because I was walking my dog a couple of days ago, and there were a lot of turkeys in the area. And I know being by your house, you've had in the past, Mrs. Reynolds has the foil and the shiny things up, because you guys have been at times besieged by turkeys. What is the current state of the battle between the Reynolds and the turkeys?
You know, I think we've won it.
Wow.
I think we've won it.
Mission accomplished.
Victorious.
Well, I don't know if we get in trouble, but she bought a water gun to spray on them. So, you know, but you can't have old people get in trouble for that, can you?
You're just discouraging them from hanging around. That's
all we're doing. We're just saying, we don't mind you going in the neighbor's yard, just get out of ours. And so if you got to do that. So anyway, Miss Reynolds is, you know, I don't question her. She's in charge, and so, you know, I didn't like the turkeys anyway, but, you know, in Roseville and good part of Sacramento, I mean, they're taking over.
Yeah. You got to be careful what you say to her when she's got that water gun in her hand, don't you?
I have.
It's like talking to Reggie Theus when he's out there hunting pheasant with the bow and arrow.
Right? Yeah, well, I'm more scared of Mrs. Reynolds than I ever was Reggie.
Thanks, Jerry. We appreciate it. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good weekend, you guys, and go Chiefs.
All right, Jerry. Had to get that in there. Had to get it in there.
Yeah.
The legend, Jerry Reynolds.
Good
stuff.
Yeah. When we come right back, Kings Warriors Sunday. Who needs to play well for Sacramento? That's next. Drive, guys.
Has Monty put together a roster that can help make a deep play?